Hey guys, what's up? This is LGS here, and today I'm back with a deck profile on the all-new Omega Glendios, reborn as Omega Loop Glendios. So, Glendios is one of those cards that was quite a big thing. I think it was last year, yes, when it first released. And it's one of those cards that sort of topped in everywhere. And I even used it to come in 4th in the UK Nationals tournament. Oh yeah. And now this is a sort of 2.0 version, because now in Fighters Collection there's a new card, Omega Loop Glendios, which sort of helps improve Omega Glendios. So back then, I think the more viable build for Omega Glendios was the beatdown build. Basically, you focus on his ability to give reverse units 4k, and you basically beat your opponent down with 22k columns, and you ignore his automatic win condition. So, if for those who don't know, Glendios has an automatic win condition, so it's the first card in Vanguard that allows you to win automatically if you manage to fulfill the conditions. But I think it's quite inconsistent, it's quite hard to achieve. But now with Omega Loop, you are able to do it. So this deck is now a sort of a more hybrid between World End, the auto win condition, and the beatdown. So if you want to see my previous version, you can check it out in a link I'll probably put somewhere here. And so yeah, so this is the Omega Loop version. So also what is known as 2.0, I guess. So first up, for a starter, you run Whirlline Dragon. So he is a very, 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 very important starter. So if you play Glendios, if you plan to play a Glendios deck with reverse units, you need to use him. So his skill is basically when he's a Vanguard or in the Soul, before you ride, okay, during your beginning of a ride phase, you can discard a card with reverse R in its name, basically a reverse unit, and you can search your top 5 cards of your deck for a Link Joker and put it into your hand. And yeah, and then shuffle your deck. So, for those of you who don't know, Omega Glendios works around reverse units, and reverse units are not Link Joker. So if you, and the thing is, you need a lot of reverse units in the deck, and they're all grade 3s. So the probability of misriding is pretty high in his deck. So therefore, to improve consistency of riding, you need to run him, and he basically helps improve your consistency a lot. I don't know the statistics and how much probability it helps, but so far, I have not misride with this deck before, despite having, I think, 13 grade 3s. Yes, I have 13 grade 3s in this deck, so run him, definitely. Very key card. So next for grade 3, I run 3 Omega Glendios. Yes, I only run 3. So far I think 3 is enough, but if you are afraid you may misride, run 4 of him, it's fine. So he is a card you definitely want to ride into, because the Stride unit requires you to have Glendios in the soul, in its heart. So his first skill is his ultimate break skill, also known as World End. Basically, at the beginning of your main phase, if your opponent has 5 locked rear guards, you win the game. So basically, if you have 5 damage, and if you manage to Omega lock your opponent last turn and have all the units locked at the beginning of your main phase, you basically win. So yeah, his second skill is what is known as Omega Lock. Basically, limit break 4 if you have 4 damage, counter +1 and discard a card with reverse in his card name. Say backwards R in his name. Yeah, discard it, and choose. And all your opponent's locked rear guards cannot unlock at the end of his next turn. So basically, they stay locked for 2 turns. So normally a card locks at the end of the owner's turn. So his skill basically allows you to make sure it does not unlock that one time. So it has to so you have to wait until your next end phase before it unlocks. So it's called Omega Lock. His third skill is all your cards with reverse R in its name are Link Joker, and yeah, basically it. Oh yeah, Link Joker, and they gain 4k. So basically all your reverse R units swing for 15k. And his other skill is when you call a unit with reverse R, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and lock it. And it's once a turn. So once a turn you can call a reverse unit and it locks your opponent. So yeah, so that is his skill. Plenty of skill, but the main skills you will make use of is his World End skill, his on-call lock skill, and his last skill where he turns reverse units into Link Joker and again 4k. So basically it allows you to do sort of like power pushes and stuff like that. Next I run 2 reverse Cradle. So he is a reverse unit because he has a reverse R in his name, and he's a Link Joker. So he's your secondary backup right in case you miss Glendios. But ideally you want to right into Glendios. You don't want to miss it. So his skill is Limit Break 4. When a reverse unit is placed on R, you can lock one of your opponent's rear guards and he gains 5k. So yeah, this is once a turn. And the second skill is that all your reverse units are Link Joker. So he's sort of like a weaker Glendios. Basically all your reverse units are Link Joker, but they don't get power bonus, and he allows you to lock Limit Break 4, but you don't have the Omega lock skill. So which is sad. Oh well. So yeah, that's 2. Then next I run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 other reverse units. Make sure you run all different units because some skills in this deck require you to have multiple different reverse units. So yeah, so that's 8. So in total I have 10 reverse units and 3 Glendios. So that's 13 grade 3s in the deck. 13, yes. So chances of me shredding is pretty high, but with Worldline Dragon it helps. Next I run 3 Magnet Hallows. So he is another useful card. Basically when his attack hits a Vanguard, you can +1. Search your deck for a reverse unit. Okay, if you have a Vanguard with Star-vader in its name, search your deck for a reverse unit, put in your hand, and shuffle your deck. So he basically allows you to help you get reverse units in your hand, which is important because number 1, you want to use his skill to hopefully search for Glendios, and you want the reverse units to use Glendios skill to lock and to Omega lock. So 3 of him because there's not much space. Okay. If you want to, you can run 4, but I think 3 is enough. Next, I run 3 Star-vader Photons. So his skill is basically when you put him on the rearguard circle. If you have a Star-vader, if you have a Star-vader Vanguard, and your opponent has a lock card, you can lock another card. So basically, he helps you accelerate locks. So running 3, I think is useful because I ideally want to run 4, but there's not enough space in your grade 2 slot. So yeah, so basically he allows you to accelerate locks, which is good. And next, I run 2. Yep, 2 Colony Maker. So when you call him to rearguard circle, you can +1. If your opponent has a lock card, +1 and search your deck for a grade 1 Star-vader, call it to rearguard circle. So this deck is quite sort of Star-vader reliant. So you need a Star-vader Vanguard, but it's fine. All your Vanguard that you should write into are Star-vaders. So yeah, basically she is in there to help you call important grade 1s that you need because there are a lot of tech grade 1s that have very useful skill, and you want to use her to call them out consistently. Next, I run 4 of the G Perfect Guard. So I run him or her, don't know what, yeah, whatever, because he allows you to uncrypt damage, and this deck can be quite counterblast heavy because Omega Glendios takes 1 counterblast to Omega Lock, and there's a lot of other cards that require counterblast 1 as well. So eventually it stacks up. So you want to have unclippers as well. So I run 4 of him because, well, perfect guards are perfect guards, and you want to basically control your damage. So one thing about this deck is that you want to be able to control your damage properly to reach 5 damage. And once you reach 5 damage, you can then do your automatic win condition. So yeah, his skill is basically when you use him to guard. If you have another of him in a drop zone, unclip damage. Next, I run 3 Taboo Star-vader Rubidim. So he is sort of your Glendios perfect guard. Basically, when you call the Guardian Circle, if you have a Glendios Vanguard, the attack is redirected to a reverse unit on the field. And yeah, basically you can divert attacks to your rear guards. And he's also very useful against some restanders because a lot of cards that restand require them to attack the Vanguard. So if you redirect it to a rear guard, they cannot restand. So this applies to, I think, quite a few Vanguards. I'm not sure. I think Abyss, for example, Revenger Abyss requires you to attack a Vanguard for it to restand. So if you use a skill, nope, bye-bye restand. Next, I run 4 Ruin Magicians. So her skill is basically when you call her to rearguard circle, you can +1. If you do, for every different reverse unit on the field, you can return that many reverse units from your drop zone. Okay, so she is mainly the reason why I say run different reverse units, because she requires you to have different reverse units on the field to be able to use her skill. So for example, when you call her, if you have 3 reverse units on your field, different of them, +1, you can get 3 reverse units from your drop zone into your hand, which is very useful. So basically, she helps you recycle reverse units so that you don't run out of it. So that's why early game with Worldline Dragon, you want to use his skill because you can set up your drop zone with reverse units, so you can use her skill to recycle them back into your hand. So run 4 because she's a very useful card. Next I run 1 Limit Break Remover. So he's a Star-vader, and in case you want to control your damage and you want to Omega Lock, but you don't have 4 damage, you can always use her to call him out, and then you can use Glendios skill to Omega Lock, because Glendios skill Omega Locking skill is a Limit Break 4. And for triggers, I run 6 crit, all different, 6 draws because you want to draw into reverse units and key cards, and finally 4 heals. So that's trigger lineup. Now for your G units, run 4 Death Star-vader Omega Loop Glendios. So he is one of your really main strike units, and run 4 because he's useful. So his skill is once a turn, Counter Blast 2, Persona Flip, and if you have a if you have a Glendios in your heart, for each of your reverse units on the field, lock. Okay, your opponent chooses that many rearguard circles, and then you place that many cards from the top of his deck to those rearguard circles as lock. And if you have 5 damage or more, okay, if you have 5 damage or more, yes, your opponent is basically Omega locked. So basically, when on your turn you have 5 damage, stride him over Glendios, call out enough reverse units on the field, and basically you can Omega lock your whole opponent's field. And you just wait until next turn, and then if you survive next turn, when it's your turn, you win. So yeah, so basically he helps you. He is mainly there to help you achieve your world end condition. So throughout the game, you can play, in a sense, you can play a beatdown version. So you can attack with powerful columns. Then when you reach the point where you have 5 damage and you have enough reverse units, ride him, stride him, use the skill, Omega Lock. Next turn, you win. Also, if you have 5 damage and you still have heal triggers in your deck, do not attack, because if you go through the trouble of Omega locking your opponent's whole field and you attack, and let's say you drive check a heal trigger and you heal, well, Omega Glendios' Limit Break 5 skill will not work. So that's a pretty stupid move. So be careful, don't make that mistake, because if you make that mistake, you'll be like, oh my gosh, I could have won, but I kind of wasted it. So yeah, run 4 because you want to use his skill potentially multiple times. Next, I run 4 Big Crunch Dragon. So his skill is basically helps you to Omega Lock. So his skill is once per turn, Count +1, Persona Flip. If you have 2 or more face-up units in your G zone, you can pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's rearguards, lock the whole column, and Omega Lock it. So basically, he helps you accelerate locks. The problem is that he requires you to have 2 or more face-up units in your G zone, so he's definitely going to be your second or third stride. So I think maybe you can run 2 instead, and run 2 of the Nobila Maximum Steel Dragon. His skill is Count +1. When he attacks, Count +1, and he gains 5k for every locked card. So if your opponent has whole field locked, you basically gain 25k, so it's a good power pusher. So yeah, so depending on how you want to play it, you can actually run 4 Big Crunch. If not, run 2-2. So this is a strike unit. So one thing to keep note of in this deck, one big weakness of this deck is that Glendios' skill of making your reverse units Link Joker is actually a very key skill, because if you notice, all your reverse units has what is known as Lord skill. So if you do not have a card with the same clan as this unit, he cannot attack. So basically, when you stride over Glendios, that skill is no longer in existence. So all your reverse units cannot attack, except for Reverse Cradle, because Reverse Cradle is Link Joker. But all the other reverse units, they are not Link Joker, and you don't have any non-Link Joker rearguards of the same clan as them, so they can't attack. So yeah, so be careful though. Do keep that in mind. When you on the turn you stride, all your reverse units are basically dead. They can't attack. So yeah. Anyway, so that's my Omega Loop Glendios deck profile. Hope you like it. If you do, thumbs up. And yeah, if you like my channel and content, do subscribe. And this has been LJ, and I'll see you guys next time.